All right, good evening, and thank you for joining us. So we know, of course, there's been a lot of movement in the matter of the farm laws today. A quick update of what's going on and a quick discussion with Yogendra Yadav, who's been kind enough to join us. The Supreme Court today has put on hold the implementation of the 3 farm laws and announced setting up of a committee of experts, as the court calls it, to suggest changes wherever needed in the enactments as being opposed by the farm community. This was a 3-judge bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, Chief Justice Bobde, and the bench made it clear that in the detailed order there was passed that the land of farmers cannot be sold under the new law. So basically, to bring you up to speed, remember it is 48 days of protest so far that the farmers have gone through. Bitter cold right now at the borders of Delhi, where these farmers are for the last nearly 50 days. And the whole standoff has been that the government has offered to amend the laws and still pass them. The farmers have said no amendment, we want them to be repealed altogether. The Supreme Court has decided now that there will be a committee of experts who will speak to both sides and write out changes that the farmers require in order to meet midway. Now, here's the question about the real midway, because the farmers didn't see a midway up until now. Also, there's been a question about the members of this committee. Now, the list has been put together by the Supreme Court. Bhupendra Singh Mann is the national president of the Bharatiya Kisan Union and the All India Kisan Coordinator Committee. Dr. Pramod Kumar Joshi, agricultural economist, also the director for South Asia International Food Policy Research Institute. Ashok Gulati, agricultural economist, former chairperson of the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. In fact, Dr. Gulati has been the economist who supported farm laws from the very beginning. He's the voice that most TV channels have turned to, in fact, in the last 50-odd days. Anil Ganpat is the chief of the Shetkari Sangathan. Shetkari Sangathan is a group of farmer union from Maharashtra specifically. And also someone who the Shetkari Sangathan has come out in favor of these farm laws. Now, what the farmers are saying, the farmer unions are saying in criticism, is that these 4 people have displayed in public so far their support for the laws. And so there's nobody on the other side. To help us understand what's really going on at this point, Yogendra Yadav joins us right now. Mr. Yadav, thank you so much for making time. I appreciate your time. Does this, and most of the headlines right now say farmers to continue protest. But at no part of the Supreme Court order did it say that the farmers have to call off their protest, did it? So what is the plan among farmer unions right now?
Faye, I'm afraid the only plan we have is to go ahead with our protest, go ahead with our agitation, because the Supreme Court order doesn't show any way forward. Frankly, I didn't expect any, because we made it clear right from the beginning that we were not in the court. Mind you, the entire matter went to the Supreme Court, not because we took it, not because officially the government took it. The matter went to the Supreme Court because some lawyer filed a petition saying, remove these farmers, evict them. That's what the issue was before the court. And I thought before vacation, the court had made it absolutely clear that farmers had a democratic right. As long as they were peaceful, they could protest. So frankly, there was no issue left with the court. Some other petitions were filed saying these laws are unconstitutional. Supreme Court said, well, we'll look into this by and by. We'll take our time to do so. So there was really no issue before the court. But the court insisted, for reasons that court would understand best, that court wanted to get into the question of negotiations between farmers and government. Court said negotiations are not going well. We need to. Farmers said, no, want you to intervene. Now, this basic principle of any mediation is that both parties approach someone and say, please mediate. Here, farmers were saying, no, we don't want you to mediate. In any case, the Supreme Court has taken a position that it doesn't want to get into policy issues of agriculture. They have given two judgments. So we didn't want that. And yesterday, we made it absolutely clear that we were not for any committee. We were not going to nominate. So we have three problems with the proposal of the committee that the Supreme Court has made. Number one, on principle, we do not think that Supreme Court was the place for mediation if talks are not going on well. We never approached it. Number two, an expert committee is not a solution where deep political differences are involved, deep differences about how you see future going on. Expert committee is not what you need. If any committee was needed, you needed a very different kind of a committee which could listen. And third, now that we know the names of the committee, well, you can only smile and say, I told you so. Because these four persons, and I don't wish to castigate any one of them, these are very fine minds, these are well-known activists, but no one in this country would say that they are neutral on this question. Faye, just as I'm not neutral on this question, similarly, Dr. Gulati is not. These are four best advocates of the positions of the government. So it's a committee of advocates. It's not a committee of experts, certainly not neutral. And I do not know how this committee will come and speak to farmers. Which farmer would listen to them? Which farmer will speak to them? Will this committee be able to speak to those lakhs of farmers who are outside Delhi right now? Which is what the principal purpose of such a committee would have been. I'm afraid this committee may not be able to even visit Singhu border, even visit Tikri border. And then the whole thing looks to be pointless, honestly. I can't hear you, Faye. You may have been muted. Yeah.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. My question was, if you permit me to argue the other side of these 3 points that you have brought out. The first point you said is the farmers and yourself, you do not see the Supreme Court as the entity that should be mediating, at this point. But in that event, are we looking at a permanent impasse where the farmers and the government just never see eye to eye? Is it going to continue forever? And like the Supreme Court noted, 60 people have already died. How much longer is this going to go on for?
Faye, we are very concerned and we are grateful to the Supreme Court that the Supreme Court noted at least something that the government has not noted, not commented upon. The Supreme Court showed empathy for the farmer. The Supreme Court said they were worried about the number of deaths. And we respect the Supreme Court for that. Does it mean Supreme Court should be intervening to sort it out? I'm afraid not. Because when we say, well, if the Supreme Court doesn't step in, there is no solution, then we are assuming that the government doesn't want to listen. We are assuming that the government is not interested in taking negotiations forward. We are assuming that the government has made it a matter of prestige, which is such a pity. So in the last instance, these are disputes that people and people's representatives have to sort out. There is no shortcut. Suppose tomorrow someone says, okay, Supreme Court in this country is, wedded to the government. Supreme Court will do whatever the government does. So let's think of someone else. Let's turn to Faye D'Souza. She would sort it out. Someone would say, look, you have to trust basic democratic institutions. And in this case, the institution happens to be the government. The institution happens to be the parliament. They got to listen, and their job cannot be done by the Supreme Court.
So are you arguing that instead of this expert panel, they ought to be a parliamentary committee, which was, I believe, what the opposition had asked for when these bills were tabled before Parliament, that they ought to be, a parliamentary committee, a standing committee from Parliament that these bills are referred to. But you did say also an expert committee cannot step into matters of great political differences. Now, I could argue, are you accepting that this is a political thing and not really about farmers? What are these great political differences, and why do you not believe this expert committee can solve this problem?
The word political does not mean electoral, does not mean party political. These are political differences in the sense that they involve deep visions about what is the future of farming and agriculture in India. Do you want to go in for corporate farming in India? Would it be good for the country? Do you want to protect small farmers of this country? Is that what you need? Now, these are very deep differences. Experts can come and help you. And I believe some of them are very good experts. I must say, I have respected Professor Ashok Gulati. I continue to do so despite deep differences. Experts can come in once you give the basic frame. You say, okay, this is what we wish to achieve. Then experts come in to tell you how this can be achieved. Experts cannot tell you whether Indian agriculture should be replicating the pattern of Europe and America. Experts cannot tell you whether uh, corporates stepping in is best for the country. These are questions about deep visions of the future of country, which technical experts cannot. There are only two ways in this. Either you get into larger debates of ideological kind, or you get into a open exercise of just listening. I'm afraid experts are not suited for either of them. In fact, if there were people who would just come and listen, people of certain credibility and stature in this country, who do not have who have not taken any sides in the dispute so far, if they came and just heard, that would have at least healed the wounds. That would have done much more than any technical expert can do in this instance.
Are you referring to the cabinet or the Prime Minister, Mr. Yadav?
Well, the cabinet and prime minister does not need to step in at the behest of the Supreme Court. The cabinet and prime minister, the ball has been in their court for more than, I think, 6 or 8 weeks. Yes, the cabinet should have stepped in. Yes, the prime minister personally should have stepped in. Yes, the matter should not be hanging the way it has. And yes, the minister should not say in negotiation, ab aap Supreme Court ke paas jaiye. That is not how you conduct serious negotiations. So isn't it weird that the minister says, let's have next round of discussion on the 15th. And in any case, let's sort it in the Supreme Court. What exactly is he saying? This is the hypocrisy that needs to be called out. So let's be able to name the real bottleneck in this discussion. The real bottleneck is government doesn't want to listen. And this cannot be short-circuited by any Supreme Court. I mean, I can imagine in principle some Supreme Court in some country being able to do so. But for that, the court will have to enjoy a certain kind of deep moral legitimacy, which we don't see currently.
Okay, I am going to ask you now what the idea is from inside the camp of farmer unions. Technically, the Supreme Court order doesn't mandate that the farmer unions talk to or agree with anything that this expert committee recommends. The expert committee has been tasked to talk to the farmer unions and come up with suggestions. Let's assume the government follows those suggestions. Are the farmers going to continue to protest even after that? How will this play out?
Faye, I honestly cannot imagine what that conversation would be. Take Professor Ashok Gulati, one of the best agriculture economists in the country, someone I have respected. Now, he is the person who has, in a sense, he's the father of these 3 laws. How would he go around and say, oh, do you like these laws? Do you not like these laws? The other expert, Mr. Joshi, has been publicly advocating that we don't need MSP in this country, that
Yes.
These 3 laws are the best thing that could have happened to this country. How would he come and talk to farmers? Okay, now let's talk about legal status for MSP. I mean, this would be such an insincere this would be a joke. If I meet Professor Gulati, both of us sit across the table. We can either have a quiet cup of tea or we can both laugh. That's all that we can do. What kind of a conversation do you expect? The 2 farmers' organizations represented here by Mr. Maan, one of the very senior most persons, although he doesn't command any large following today, and Mr. Anil Danduvat, Mr. Anil, who is from the Shetkari Sanghathan. Once again,
Yes.
great legacy, but an organization which has virtually no following today. Now, these are two organizations which have taken a position which is so completely unacceptable to everyone else. 1 month ago, both of them met the agriculture minister. Both of them gave a representation whose copy we've circulated, which says these are wonderful laws, don't take them back, just minor tweaks is what is required. Now, how would they come? And in fact, Mr. Anil, the Shetkari Sanghathan, actually welcomed these laws with crackers and all. Now, do you expect them to now come, set aside their crackers and whatever celebrations and meetings everything else, and comes, do you like these laws? Do you not like these laws? I mean, this would be a non-starter. How can you imagine a serious conversation with these four persons? They are perfect, they are good, they are very sharp minds. But as I said, they are the four best advocates for these laws. They are not suited for any expert panel. Even the pretense of neutrality is not there.
Mr. Yadav, the Solicitor General representing the Government of India even argued that the farmers from South India are not participating because it's actually good for them. So here you have laws that's good for a large number of people, but there is a small number of people who are protesting. We mustn't technically, do you agree with that? What is the, this has come up many times, but there needs to be a rebuttal and a clarification to that statement made inside court. The other thing that was made inside court, the bench asked Attorney General K.K. Venugopal about the charges of the banned outfit Sikhs for Justice being part of this protest. And he said that they will give Intelligence Bureau evidence to the court in some time. These are serious allegations, Mr. Yadav.
On the first question of this not being acceptable in South India, well, I can talk about Karnataka and Kerala, two states which were discussed today. In Karnataka, the largest organization of farmers is called Karnataka Rajya Rayat Sangha. It has now split into 4 or 5 factions. All of those factions are opposed to these 3 laws. Every one of those factions is opposed. Please, and I'm stating it on fact. You are in Bengaluru, please check it out. Tell me one KRRS organization which is not opposing this. Kerala, the largest organization, is obviously All India Kisan Sabha, which is close to the CPIM. They are tooth and nail opposed to this law. In Tamil Nadu, there is a association, All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee, has about 50 organizations under its umbrella which are opposing it. In Telangana and Andhra, you have several organizations. Please name one farmers organization with mass following which supports these laws. So that is about South India. As far as that banned organization, honestly, I did not know that such an organization existed. And if the government can show that that organization is playing a role in the leadership of this movement, playing a role in decision-making of this movement, playing a role in shaping the agenda of this movement, let's have a discussion about it. Let the Attorney General place those facts. In a movement where lakhs of people are involved, anyone can pick up a few saints, anyone can pick up a few rogues. That does not change the character of movement. What changes is leadership, official positions, stated positions, agenda. Show me the role of any such organization there instead of any loose talk.
What is the plan now, Mr. Yadav? There was a plan to protest, to do a tractor march on the 26th of January along with the Republic Day parade. What discussions took place? And I know that the farmer unions, the 40 farmer unions that are taking part in the protest right now, had long discussions through the day on how to respond to the Supreme Court order. What was decided?
On responding to the Supreme Court order, honestly, there was not much to discuss because we had made our position clear yesterday itself. We welcome the fact that the Supreme Court has not evicted us. We welcome the stay order, though we realize that stay is not what we needed. We wanted a repeal, and that we reject the idea of mediation, and that we have decided not to have anything to do with the committee. So these were things we had decided earlier. That doesn't take much time. The real question is future programs. I can say without any hesitation that everything that we had planned and announced goes forward as we had decided. Tomorrow is Lohri, and our program is to, that's a festival of North India, especially Punjab and areas around it, where you would do bonfire. Tomorrow, we would do bonfire of these 3 laws. Is a day that we have decided for Mahila Kisan, because 70% agricultural labor is done by women. So we would mark a day when we bring women farmers in the forefront, and we would request them over. Incidentally, the Supreme Court somehow believes, and I thought, Faye, at least you would comment on that. Please do. Supreme Court believes that old people,
and women,
young people, and women who have been kept there should be allowed to go. I mean, this is an extraordinary assertion coming from Supreme Court. They cannot imagine that women can participate in an agitation on their own. They cannot imagine that those who contribute 70% to the agriculture of this country, agriculture labor in this country, can actually contribute at least 30% to an agitation of this country. So we are celebrating 18th as a day for 23rd is the day when we are protesting against outside Raj Bhavans throughout the country. And 26th, yes, our program for Republic Day Parade continues. We are absolutely committed to the program, just as we are committed to keeping it peaceful,
Yes.
democratic. Republic Day official parade. We do not mean to disrupt it in any possible way. Republic Day is not just a day of the government or the ruling party. It is People's Day, and Republic's prestige, uh, Republic's honor is
Yes.
very much an honor. So of course we
Because
would.
Republic Day is the day of celebration of our Constitution that gives us the fundamental right to protest peacefully as well, especially as women. Guess what? We have the fundamental right to protest peacefully, just like the men. Mr. Yadav, very quick question. I know we're running out of time. We have 4 minutes as per my clock. And there are a couple of people in our chat window who have asked this question, and you can choose not to answer it if you don't want to. But they're saying you're not a farmer, and this has come up on social media as well. Why do you take part in protest after protest? Are you professionally a protester? If you're not a farmer, why are you taking part in these protests?
Well, quickly, I am from Haryana, district Rewari, village Saranwas, where I happen to own 4 acres of land. If some friend wants a khatra number, I can try and send that. According to Government of India, that makes me a farmer. Number 2, from 2015 onwards, that's actually the only main work I have done, much to the annoyance of my organization and everyone else. Why are you so obsessed with farmers is a question they've been asking me since 2015, when we took out a tractor yatra from Punjab to Delhi. In 15, we did another Samvedana yatra during drought for the farmers from Karnataka to Haryana. I did a yatra. That's 2015. Since then, I've been doing this continuously. Does that give me title to protest again on the farmers' question? I'm actually in a sense glad my friend Samit Patra was not around when Gandhiji launched his Champaran movement, because Samit Patra would have said, this barrister who's come from it, what business is he? I'm sure some Englishmen had asked those questions at that time. And to Sardar Patel, who was a professional lawyer, who had started Bardoli agitation. I'm very glad.
We seem to have lost that connection with Yogendra Yadav, but quickly to just reiterate what he was saying is that everyone in this country, based on the first few pages of our Constitution and the fundamental right to speech and expression, are given the right to peaceful protest. You don't have to be a member of the aggrieved community in order to protest. You just have to be a citizen who feels strongly about something. If you disagree with something, you have a full constitutional right to protest against that something if you don't like it. That's what living in a democracy is about. So the argument that, oh, these people are not farmers doesn't hold, because if someone feels a kinship to what the farmers are going through, they're allowed to protest about it. If you feel a kinship to what anyone is going through in this country, you can protest against what is going on. You don't have to be a member of the aggrieved community. You just have to have a need for dissent. But I know that Yogendra Yadav has to be on other channels right now because a lot of people want his opinions this evening. But effectively, this is where we are. The Supreme Court has decided it will set up a 4-member expert committee that will mediate or have conversations with the farmers, find out points of contention that can actually lead to amendments and middle ground with the government to resolve this matter. The Supreme Court making very clear that it was unhappy with the government's handling of the matter so far. It was also unhappy, incidentally, that old people and women, like Mr. Yadav pointed out, were being kept at the protest and said that they should be allowed to go. As my colleagues Amita and Arun will tell you, a lot of women are at the protest. They're not being kept anywhere. Women, they are actually there of their own free will. Some of them drove tractors for hundreds and hundreds of kilometers to be there. But we're going to keep a close eye on this, as we have always done, because, like I say, this country was built on Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. And we shouldn't forget the second half of that sentence. All right. Thank you for watching and thank you for staying with us. We will be back every evening at 8 o'clock to answer questions. Good night.